Hey guys, Garrett here from iOS Pro. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to install apps on the original iPhone in 2023. So let's get started. So in order to install apps on the iPhone 2G in 2023 first thing we'll need is an original iPad from 2010 running iOS 5.1.1. Second thing is only two computers. A first one is a MacBook Pro running Big Sur up to Ventura for us to work. Second thing is we'll need another computer running High Sierra up to Mojave. This computer is to jailbreak the iPad to install the apps. Alright, so we'll need this computer later in the video. I'll show you guys why later. Alright, so now what we're going to do is jailbreak the original iPad here. Let me just plug it into my computer after I get Red Snow here. So the version of Red Snow we're going to be needing, let me adjust my thing here. We're going to be needing version 0.9.15 beta 2. This one right here. You click Mac. Then when it comes to this page, let me zoom out. Sorry about that. Alright, so when it gets to this page where it says download attachment, you click the blue here button. Right here. And now it's going to start downloading Red Snow, just like that. So now go to your downloads. Once it's finished, open up the folder, double click on Red Snow, and it'll give you this message right here. It says, Red Snow is an app downloaded from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? Click open. Alright, there's Red Snow. See, 0.915 beta 2. So now what we're going to do here is get the original iPad here and plug it into the computer. And my iTunes will always open up on the very first try. Sorry about that. So when we click jailbreak, when we connect iPad in normal mode, it's going to ask this method right here. Use DFU RAM disk method. Basically, your device can be jailbroken either DFU or method or the backup/restore method. So for this jailbreak, we're going to be using the backup method. So when we click no, and now it's going to start jailbreaking the original iPad via backup method. See, it's now going to start restoring from backup. See, it's now restoring the iPad to jailbreak it. See, restore in progress. That's totally normal. You see, restoring from modified backup in order to jailbreak. So once this is jailbreak completed or restore completed, then it'll go ahead and restart the iPad in order to do this. It's really cool how that works. So he says, oh yeah, there we go. See, now it says restore completed. Now the iPad's going to restart, and I'll come back once it's done restarting. So you guys can see, when it's restoring for backup, it'll give you a little progress bar as well. That is totally normal as well. So once this progress bar jumps to the end, then we'll know it works. So I'm going to unplug my iPad from my computer because we don't need it anymore. So now we only need the modern computer running the modern OSs just for the later part of this video. So we're done with this computer now. And then the rest of this will take place on the original iPad here. Alright, there we go. So the iPad's now done booting up. And now it will freeze up after a few seconds here, which is totally normal. Yep, there we go. See, it froze. That's because Cydia, it's not actually finished yet. It's actually still in the process of installing Cydia. So once it restarts after it's done undoing itself here, yeah, you see, it's still freezing. Yeah, there we go, you see? It'll now restart, which is totally normal. Then, after it restarts, Cydia should be on the home screen. Going back in the original iPad is finally restarted. And there we go, there's Cydia right on the home screen. So now what it's going to do is prepare the file system, and the device will restart once that's finished. I'll come back when it's done. So I'm back, and as you guys see, Cydia is now on the home screen. We're going to launch Cydia now. And what we're going to do now is going to install iFile. So what I'm going to have to wait till my original iPad is done downloading the packages before I do this. Go back and Cydia has finished downloading the packages. When it gives you this screen, click ignore. We don't need to do any of that. So now what we're going to do is go down to here where it says iFile. Now we're going to install that. It just takes a second to load here, which is totally normal. Now we're going to click install at the top, confirm. And now what it's going to do is install iFile. So I'm back and iFile is finished successfully installing. I'm going to click return to Cydia. Yeah, sometimes the iPad will freeze. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Okay, there we go. There's the iFile right there. So once we open iFile, what we're going to do now is add a lot of code to the compatibility and capabilities file. So what we're going to do now is go all the way back to where it says this menu right here. Go to System, Library, Core Services. Go down to springboard.app. Sorry, my iPad can get a little sticky. Now we're going to search for the file K with 2 numbers. Then right here, see K48ap.plist. This is the capabilities file. So what we're going to do now is add a new line of code underneath capabilities right here. We're going to hit return, space, space, space till it lines up. One back. Then we're going to type this command, arrow, key, close, ARM64, right here. Then we're going to put slash key, this, then return again, space, space, space. Now we're going to add the line true. Now it should look like this. Guys, see, key ARM64, key with a slash at the beginning, and true. That's what it should look like. Hit save, done. Now we're going to restart the iPad. Basically, the line of code we added will disable the compatibility limits in the App Store, allowing us to downgrade apps, which is totally normal. Now I'm going to restart the iPad, and I'll come back when it's done booting up. So I'm back, and my original iPad is finished booting up. So now what we're going to do is install the apps on the original iPad. And the most important step of all is make sure you've bought the app or purchased it on your newest iPhone before you do this. Otherwise, the apps will not downgrade. And here's the reason why. Here you guys see I got 2 phones. One was Meta. I'm going to try to install Meta without buying it first. See, if I do it on iOS 7, see how I'm trying to downgrade a Meta without buying it, and it'll give you this error right here. This is what happens if you guys skip the buy it on your modern device step. It'll do this. But you see, since I did it properly on my 5C, where I bought it, now I'm going to downgrade it, it's going to do this. See, on the left is when I try to do it without buying it. On the right is when I follow the step exactly. That's the difference here. That is the reason why I say always buy it before you do it. For that reason. And I want to show you guys the list of apps that work and don't work. See? This first app is for the show and tell applications. The ones that install but open but don't connect. I would recommend taking a screenshot of this. This next list is the list of working paid apps that are usable and don't crash, that you can play and stuff. Take a screenshot of this before I go on. And this last list is the list of working free apps that don't crash, or are usable. This is about 69 to 70 apps that will install and work. Alright, so now what I do is go to the App Store and then go to the Purchase tab. The reason for this is because if you do it by the normal search tab from the Features section, the App Store will treat the apps like you've never bought them before, and it won't let you downgrade them. So one of the apps we're going to use is called Color Splash. This is one of the apps that is paid, which I've already bought on my modern device. So what I'm going to do is select the iPhone up here. You see, there we go. Now I'm going to hit download. Since we added the line of code earlier, it's going to let me downgrade. Let me go ahead and do my Apple ID off camera. I'm back, and the Apple ID has now been entered. And now you see, since the line, if you guys entered the code in the file system correctly, it'll do this, see? That line of code we entered disabled the compatibility limits. We're going to hit download. Just like that, now Color Splash will now download. And I already tried this with a lot of other apps, like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Pandora, and Google Translate, and they all ran on the original iPhone, no problem. So, and the original iPad could take a few minutes to install sometimes, because it always hangs on waiting before installing the app, which is totally normal. So I'll come back when it's done installing. So I'm back, and Color Splash is finished installing. So now what we're going to do is go to iFile, go to System, Library, go down to Core Services, then go down to System Version.plist, then go to Text Editor or Text Viewer. So now what we're going to do is change the version number to 3.2. The reason for this is when you change the version number, we're basically taking control of the device's ability to choose which version of the app it'll give us. So when we change to 3.2, we're basically telling it to give us the iOS 3 version rather than the iOS 5 version. It's a really cool trick you can use. Then, sorry about that, change the build number to 7B367, like this. Then change the number down here to 3.2. Then hit done, save, then done again. Now we're going to restart the iPad to take effect. What we're basically doing here, we're basically tricking the iPad into giving us the iOS 3 version of the app rather than the iOS 5 version. That's basically what we're going to do here. So now I'm going to restart the iPad. So I'm back and my original iPad has finished booting up. See, when I go to settings, 3.2. And I would also recommend installing all the apps on the app list I created before you change your version number. For a good reason, because the purchase tab will disappear when you go below 4.3. See, the App Store, see now, since we changed our version number, it's no longer going to show the purchase tab. So I would recommend installing all the iOS 5 apps you want to downgrade, then doing it. So now what we're going to do is go up to the top and search for color splash. So basically, since we already installed the app, it'll treat it like an app we've already bought. So it'll let us downgrade it again. See, there it is, color splash. I'll click update. And now this next step is totally normal. So when you get this screen, then you click download. Then you just sign in with the Apple ID again. Back, and I just entered my Apple ID. And now it's going to do this. The icon going back to the iOS 5 is totally normal. You just click download. And now it's going to download the iOS 3 version. Just like this. You guys see, pay attention to the icon here. Because now, when iOS 3 version is finished installing, the icon should change, letting us know we did it properly, which is totally normal. Alright, so there we go. And just like that, we now have the iOS 3 version, just like this. Once the guys are done downloading all the iOS 5 apps, they're doing the downgrade process, and SoundHound will work as well. See, this is the iOS 3 SoundHound as well. So once the guy's done doing all that, then go back to iFile, go to System, Library, go to Core Services, down to System Version. So in order to back up the iPad to transfer the apps via iTunes, we need to change the version number back to 5.1.1 because iTunes does not support, the newer iTunes does not support it. The 12.6 does not support iOS 5 here. See, we're going to change the build number to 9B206. Then we're going to change the number to 5.1.1. And it should look like this. See? Now we're going to restart the iPad for the change to take effect. Flight power off. Now I'll come back once the device is finished doing the same steps as before. Okay guys, so I'm back and my iPad is finished booting up. See, when I go to settings now, we're on 5.1.1. So now what we're going to need is the computer running Big Sur all the way up to Ventura to back up your apps, to transfer. This is the cool part. So we're going to download Retroactive 2.0 for GitHub. This will be linked in the description below. Click download. And there it goes to start downloading. Go to Retroactive 2.0. We're going to try to open it, but it will make me authenticate for security reasons, see? So you cannot be verified by a developer. To fix that, just go to Settings, Security and Privacy. If you run anything newer, like Ventura and all that, you'll be going to Privacy. Go to Open Anyways. Open. Now we'll get to this screen. Now we're going to install iTunes 12.6.5. Hit Continue. We're going to authenticate. Now I'll come back when I'm done. So I'm back and I authenticated. Now it's going to start installing iTunes on macOS Monterey, just like this. When you get this screen, click I don't need to sync. Click Launch iTunes, just like that. So now what we're going to do is connect the iPad via the 30-pin connector. I'm going to connect it. And now it should show up on iTunes here. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to click up where it says My iPad right here. We're going to back up apps, don't transfer, but sometimes it will make me authorize my apps. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But if it does, when you get the authorization message, if you get an authorization error, do not dismiss the message. Just go to Music, Sorry, my thing is being a little buggy right now. Okay, there we go. So to authorize the computer, if it gives you an authorization error on the screen here, leave the authorization message up like that. Don't dismiss it. Go to account, authorization, then authorize. Then once you authorize your computer by clicking authorize after Apple ID and password are entered, then it'll let you back up your apps normally. Then you click authorize, then it should be fixed. So there we go. Now it's going to back up my application. So I'll come back when it's done. So I'm back in my computer, finished backing up my original iPad. So I've already disconnected it from the charger. Now I'm going to do is plug my original iPhone in to my computer in order for this to work for the next step. So basically, we're going to transfer the iOS 3 app from the computer to the phone. That is how we're going to do it. Sometimes it takes my computer a few seconds to detect it. But there's also a glitch where every time I plug my phone in, it'll force verify. Yeah, there we go. See, it didn't do it that time. Oh, yeah, it did. You see, every time I plug my phone to iTunes, it's going to make me do this every single time. So I'll come back when it's done. Go back and iTunes has finally finished verifying my original iPhone. Unfortunately, I had to delete all my apps because if I didn't authorize, which it doesn't work anymore, if I don't authorize my apps that are on the phone, it would cause my computer to delete them. So the authorization for apps only works on iOS 5 and newer. If you do it on iOS 3 and earlier, it's not going to work. Same for iOS 4, I think. Alright, so now go to the apps category. And then now, go here and you can select which apps you want. I'm going to select a few that do work on iOS 3, like Kindle, Amazon Shopping. I've actually, even though Amazon and certain apps don't downgrade anymore via the method, I still have the old files backed up, which is great to have. So I'm going to find some more here, like Facebook, find iPhone. No, that doesn't work anymore. So a lot of apps still work, and I'll come back once I'm done selecting the apps. So I'm back, and I successfully finished selecting a few apps to work on my original iPhone, including the old Snapchat, if I can find it here. Yeah, there we go. See, Snapchat, like Instagram, including Facebook, and Twitter as well. So now I'm going to hit apply. Yeah, this iPhone is very buggy. It'll stay on the home screen during the sync, which is very unusual, 100%. So there we go. Now you see, it's now going to go and install the apps right there. I'll come back when it's done. I still went back and all the iPhone apps have finished installing, including Color Splash. To confirm, I will give you guys a demo of how SoundHound works, the music app. So first thing is connect your phone to Wi-Fi, like this. It just takes my phone a second to hook up. Alright, there we go. My phone did hook up to Wi-Fi. But now, in order to get SoundHound to work, you need to change the port number to 443 by going to Settings, go to SoundHound, go down to Port Setting, change this to 443. Otherwise, the app will not work properly. And now, I'll go ahead and demo SoundHound. See, this is the app right here. Sometimes it takes like a minute to load. Okay, there we go. So for this demo, to make sure I do not get copyrighted, I'm going to temporarily mute this part of the video to avoid copyright for safety reasons. So let me go and do that now. And just like that, you can clearly see how fast it brought up the song I wanted to recognize. Just like that. That took only like 3 to 4 seconds, which is insane. And there are time synced lyrics too, right at the bottom. So when you play the song, the lyrics will continue to do that. It's really nice how this app will work. And the other thing is, my original iPhone made a hilarious error when I was testing a song here. The song I wanted to recognize was from Miley Cyrus, which was part of in the USA. That was the song I wanted to recognize here, right here. But I have a screenshot of a funny error it made, because this iPhone, for some reason, it didn't recognize the instrumental at the beginning of the tune. So instead of giving me part of the USA at first, it gave me farting in the USA. Which is the funniest error my phone has ever made. That's Goes to show the sound is not perfect. It'll still work, but not very well. Alright, so that is how you install apps on the iPhone 2G in 2023. That is pretty much it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up for the video. Peace out.